You want to see a slide job?
Good job, man.
That was a slide job. That's what we call a slide job.
The spotter just said good job.
Oh,
there
yeah.
wasn't a whole lot he could do there.
I don't know what he would have said if he hadn't made it, but that was a good job.
Oh.
Not for long.
41, inside.
Wow.
Has he cut a tire down, Darrell?
Yeah, I didn't see it. Didn't look like the right
look
Now,
like
he's going to try to wait to get to pit road.
Pass, he did put a slide job, but he didn't hit anything.
Well, look on the track.
Oh, wow.
That looks like a full can of beverage.
That's a beverage of some kind. And that shot him up into the wall. Wow. Wow.
Well, it could have been a beverage can. It could have been a piece of concrete.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Newman kicks it up, and wow.
You know what? That's a piece of the track, guys.
They were over there in turn 2 working last night in that area of the racetrack.
When it exploded, it looked like fluid.
Be able to make a quick set surface.
With the red flag displayed, teams cannot work on their car. I disagree with NASCAR not letting Jamie McMurray's team work on that one car, because you know what? This was not anything. This was an element of the racetrack. I just feel like they should let them work on that race car right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
In 2014, by far one of the most interesting things that has ever happened at Dover was when Jamie McMurray was battling Casey Mears hard on the racetrack. As he exited turn 2 and went underneath the bridge, McMurray would actually run over a piece of the concrete, damaging his race car and putting him in the wall. Little did anybody know it was actually a piece of the concrete from the racetrack. The announcers thought it was he cut a tire first. Then they thought he ran over a beverage. But just minutes later, they realized a piece of the track had actually come up and damaged his race car. This is by far one of the most unluckiest things a driver can go through when they're doing nothing wrong and something that shouldn't have happened damages their race car. It has to be frustrating.
Greg Biffle is the lucky dog. He'll come around and be the 33rd car on the lead lap.
I'm telling you, Stewart's bored. When you start bump drafting the pace car, he's looking for some fun.
Pace car driver is Brett Bodine.
Smiling.
Oh, yeah, he's having a big time.
NASCAR has asked Tony to back off a little bit, and he did. Is he trying to make Brett loose? Is that what he's trying to do?
If he was trying, it would have been done.
Have a loose left rear wheel.
And he just hit the wall. He just hit the wall hard, Matt.
And around goes Gilliland.
And everybody else gets on the brakes.
I think they're running over parts over there. I see parts flying everywhere.
And a wheel goes over the fence into a camper area. And, well, a lot of damage to Gilliland.
I think he hit the wheel.
I believe so.
I think he hit the wheel and launched it.
But what it looks like is either that wheel came off or it busted the center out of that wheel. He was complaining about it being loose, Matt was saying. Because he had lost about 4 or 5 spots.
Let's see what goes in the corner here. Oh, yeah, the whole wheel just comes off.
But Darrell, I didn't see any hub or axle. It looked as if maybe the center broke out of the wheel.
Well, I can't get a good enough look at it to tell.
But Mike, I think you're right. I think Gilliland hit that tire and wheel.
Let's see what happens here. Yeah, you see the center of the tire. The wheel is gone.
Well, the only way we're going to find out, we're going to have to go over to the infield and dig it out of that camper tent that it went over into.
Man, look at that, guys.
And it did bounce off the hood of Gilliland's car. Still going. Photographer scramble. And it just missed the folks up on that scaffold. So hopefully everyone okay there. Look in the right-hand corner of your screen as David Gilliland spins and bam! Hood and windshield.
Amazing.
Brian Vickers has climbed out of his car. He is okay.
By far, one of the most disappointing things that could ever happen to you in a NASCAR race is when you're leading the race and you crash. But what's even more frustrating is with something that's out of your control. This is what happened to Brian Vickers when his tire fell off of his race car while leading the race. The craziest thing was it bounced all the way across the racetrack over the inside wall and went into somebody's RV, and they were standing on it. This was something that could have been a disaster, but thankfully the tire didn't fly into any of the fans and it just rolled back on the ground. NASCAR's ARCA series has always had some crazy moments, just like when Scott Speed had a run-in with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the final race of the season, and tempers would boil over at this very moment.
They are so concerned about how aggressive Stenhouse is behind him. Speed has actually talked on the radio about letting the 99 go around, and they make contact. Speed into the wall.
Speed into the wall hard, and that happened because Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was into the back of him. Let's see if he's able to continue on. A lot of damage to the right side of this race car. He needs to make his way on the...
This would be the tipping point of the race, as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would get into Scott Speed, sitting him up into the outside wall. Scott Speed would then go to pit road and repair his race car. But when he came back out on the track, it was a different Scott Speed. He wanted revenge.
Oh, a little contact right there, a little...
problem. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. around, and oh, by the way, that was the 2.
Yeah, well, there was no question there. That was a little bit of payback. A little bit of payback.
The 2013 Coca-Cola 600 was by far one of the most precarious races we've ever seen at that track. Early on in the race, Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin were battling for the lead, and it looked to be Busch's night. He had by far one of the fastest cars so early on in the race. But it would all come to a screeching halt when, coming off of turn number 4, Kyle Busch would hit something very bizarre. And when you find out what it is, it's going to shock you.
Oh, that's the debris? No, there's other stuff out there.
Mike Joy is right. There is other stuff out there. But what exactly did Kyle Busch hit?
Now, here it is, overhanging the track at turn 4. The first car coming is going to be Kyle Busch. That's going to catch in his right front wheel well, and it's just going to whipsaw the fender behind the wheel well. Now, where is it going to go? Watch Mark Martin right here. He's going to come along, pick up that cable. It's going to do a little damage to the left rear of his car. There it is in the air. It's going to catch on Mark's car, and then it's going to go underneath Marcus Ambrose's car. You see the camera getting kicked, the cable getting kicked up into the air, off to the side, and it's going to hook underneath Ambrose's car where it severs a brake line. There it is again.
When the caution came out, we talked about Kyle Busch, who has led 18 laps and running over the cable. We certainly apologize for that camera fiber causing a problem, but they went to work right away.
Well, I knew those guys would get that thing prepared. All the teams bring fabricators, Chris. They come in case there's some sort of damage they have to go behind the wall and fix. You throw them a project like this, and they get happy about it. They say, we'll fix this darn car.
The crew is up to anything and excited about their work so far, and they have a long night and a great job early.
You know, with the fuel window seemingly right now, a little hula hoop going down in the infield, but the fuel window about 44, 46 laps. Still a 3 pit stop race from here.
Boxing gloves, and what are we training for here?
Here's some more of not numerology.
We might want to double check where Hammond's at right now.
That can't be Hammond.
With Harvick behind him. Oh, there's contact. Stewart into the middle of the pack and over.
Fortune's out.
Dale Jr. just refired from the accident scene and came to the finish line. He's picking up Jimmy Johnson, who just climbed from his destroyed race car.
Yeah, Jr. just trying to complete the last lap. He came off pit road, crossed the line, and he saw Jimmy standing there. Hope that left rear tire doesn't come apart. Yeah. Not going to be good on Jimmy.
Well, he'd be the first to know.
Yeah, I know.
Junior here on last lap. Chaos at Talladega Superspeedway. Matt Kenseth is the beneficiary of fall.
We can see if we can discover what happened here. And there in the top of the picture, you saw some smoke coming off the wheels of car number 23, the Bear car of Bob and Richard Bear from Oxford, Maine, and the car sliding, coming up across the top of the tunnel. People diving, getting out of the way. Those are press photographers up there and safety personnel. I have never in all my years coming to Daytona seen a car take such an incredible course.
This one just looks kind of hilarious. I'm not really sure what happened to Jeff Bodine, but he ends up in the infield grass and then proceeds just to drive in with the RV and the campers without like hesitation. It was just a really funny thing to watch because it's like he was done for the race and he just wanted to go have fun with all the fans. Speaking of fans, now this fan's an idiot. Running across a live racetrack under green flag conditions with race cars heading over 200 miles per hour in your direction. This is something you should never do while living. I'm sorry, this was stupid.
Where Ross was aiming for anyway.
Uh-oh, caution is out. Now that is near the stadium section.
Bubba Wallace.
And there is Bubba Wallace out by the gravel.
That's going to be a vacation for his crew chief, and I think they were trying to get it back, obviously just nursing it back around. If there's the lug nut falls off, and here comes the wheel. Pretty self-explanatory. And why is the penalty so steep? Because of that right there. You see that wheel flying off. That wheel cannot. That's very dangerous to be rolling. A lot of weight, a lot of mass. Do not want that in a grandstand or anything else.
In 2022, NASCAR introduced the brand new 1 lug nut per tire rule in the NASCAR Cup Series. No more 5 lug nuts, and what that would ensue is a calamity of multiple tires falling off of race cars, it seems like every week. And one of the funniest ones in its first season was Bubba Wallace's at COTA. Bubba Wallace's tire fell off in the stadium section of the racetrack, and it bounced almost into a porta potty over the fence. This is also extremely dangerous and why NASCAR hands down so many stiff penalties for loose tires that fall off of race cars. But they are not the only type of tires to fall off of race cars. Even back when we had 5 lug nuts, tires would still fall off. But sometimes they are more destructive than others.
Uh-oh. Casey Mears has lost a wheel and axle broke.
Wow.
A rear axle broke. You see it's still attached at the hub.
Got to be a caution.
Is out.
Rear tire.
I saw him limping down the back straight into turn 10 there. Wasn't sure what the problem was. I thought he had a flat tire, but much worse.
Yeah, Mike, not only the rear axle, yeah, it was still hooked in, but it looks like to me the whole snout of that rear end housing has broken off.
There she goes. Wow. Haven't seen that in a long time. But I think, Mike, no kidding, that's hopping those curbs. It's one of the things you worry about is, you know, breaking something in the suspension.
Now that was just coming out of turn 11. And Casey got the car out of harm's way as the wheel and axle bounce into a catch fence.
Yes, that's right. In 2016, Casey Mears' entire axle with the tire fell off and hit the fence at Sonoma. It would bring out a late caution, shaking up the entire running order, but it was pretty wild.
Look at this.
His rear end fell out, literally. And that's going to take a while to hook that truck up and get it back.
That's why I brought up the fuel window, because I know we're saving gas under caution, but this could take a while.
Marco's shaking his head like I've never seen such a thing. Oh my goodness.
That means the trailing arms that hook that to the
and then it goes rolling right in front of him.
To the frame are gone.
Wow.
You see brake duct hoses flapping.
Well, that's wild. Caution is out for the 6th time.
Shock. You see a shock flipping around the silver thing on the far side.
There's a shot from afar.
Oh, wow.
There it goes. Popped right out.
I have never seen something like this in my life. I was actually in attendance at COTA that year, and I was very shocked to see what had happened. Marco Andretti's entire rear axle broke from his truck and just rolled across the racetrack. Usually you see a tire fall off the race car, maybe half of the axle could break, but it never comes off the truck. So this was just so bizarre that this even happened. Something like this probably won't ever happen again, but I guess I was lucky enough to see it in person.
You can see the fog now over the racetrack, and NASCAR is talking to the teams, talking to the spotters, and it's all about safety here. The drivers can see just fine. The problem is that the spotters high atop us on top of the main grandstands here and NASCAR, who control this race up here just a few feet from us in the control tower, want to make sure they can see, and their spotters around the racetrack who watch for debris, etc. on the track can see as well. So what they're going to do right now is bring the cars down pit road just for a couple of minutes and let some of this fog lift. They are not going to allow the crews over the wall. That's why these NASCAR officials are walking up pit road to seal off the area between the crews and the cars so they can't get over to the cars.
I see why you can't get away with anything in NASCAR anymore. Look at all these guys, man. When I was the crew chief, we didn't have near this many officials. You can kind of just look around and see, make sure it wasn't coming, and you could work on your car a little bit. But boy, they're standing everywhere.
In 2007, Michigan International Superspeedway had the beginning of the race be delayed because of fog. Yes, that's right. The race got delayed because of fog and nobody could see. It was a very dangerous spot for the drivers and especially spotters. Spotters are the ones sitting on top of the grandstands with binoculars telling their driver where other cars are around them. And if they can't see, that puts the drivers in a very vulnerable position, especially if an accident happens or they are able to prevent an accident. So NASCAR had to wait out the fog. This is something that they've done before, and it just took a little bit of time, but they finally were able to get back going and take the green flag later on in the afternoon.
And here's what happened in Budweiser shootout practice.
This is practice, Johnny. The 2 and 20, once again. Neil, who's at fault? I don't know. I just think that was more racing, not giving and taking. The 2 car and the 20 car. Give me a break, guys. It's practice. Kurt moves up. Yes, but Tony could lift a little bit here. You know what I'm getting at, Kenny? I mean, let's face it. There was no give and take in that situation.
It reminds me of Allen Iverson, the basketball player. It's practice.
Kenny, this is where he's wrong. Look at this. Once again, bam. Come on, we're aiming on pit road. The cars are under caution. Kurt Busch, you are wrong for doing that. You cannot do that, Kenny.
Well, one thing I have to say, before anybody throughout the United States tries to separate these two, they are both champions. They both have great car control. But most importantly, they both are the same-minded people. They're both brutally in control of their careers. They know what they're going to do. And I'm going to tell you what, I've seen Tony Stewart do the same thing. But yet, you get him one-on-one at a dirt track at Eldora. These two guys were best friends last year. You get both of them one-on-one in the RV lot, and they're the nicest people. And I'm going to tell you what, Spence, they are the same people. Look at these guys. They are like boxers. They are in the ring, and they battle royale every year.
Something you don't see often is altercations in practice. For one, we don't even get practice nowadays. But in 2008, during the first practice session of the season, Kurt Busch got into Tony Stewart and they wrecked on the backstretch. Stewart clipped Kurt Busch's rear quarter panel and sent him into the wall while damaging his own race car. After this, they would bang doors down pit road and both of them would be called to the NASCAR hauler immediately. William Byron was by far the greatest driver in the Truck Series in 2016, and he looked to easily pull away with the Truck Series title. He would pick up wins after wins after wins, and he seemed to be a lock-in. Until the penultimate race of the season, when William Byron's engine would explode and he would lose a spot in the Final Four. What would make it even worse is he would win in the final race of the season, but it wouldn't count towards the championship.
A major development here at Phoenix. William Byron blowing up. He's dominated this race on his way to the championship round of the chase. 6 wins this season. And I think when you talk about the garage, and if they would vote on who's the best team this season, it would be the 9. They have dominated in stretches with those 6 wins, but they are not going to the championship round with an opportunity to win the title.
That's like back in your era, Jeff.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Almirola Bowman.
Oh, the 24's on his side. Remember what I said, Clint, about 21 cars? I don't know if we got there, but man, that took out a lot of race cars and a lot of great race cars in there.
I know Eric Almirola was one of the front ones up front, so anytime that happens up front, you're going to take out a lot of them. There's Jamie McMurray, a gap in between Eric and the 20 car.
And look at the push coming from Kyle Busch to his teammate, Christopher Bell. Now that's going to get him to the rear bumper.
Big shot.
Ooh, he just got over on that right side.
I could tell you another part of that equation, Jeff. These cars, they have skew in the rear ends. That's obviously for speed and make the cars go fast, make them pull up to other cars. It's also, in my experience, makes them squirrely. When that car hits him, it pushes that car into the steer of the rear end, and it can turn you in a heartbeat.
This is uncalled for, in my opinion. It was so unnecessary. 14 laps into the first race of the season, a bad push goes wrong, and half of the field gets engulfed within each other. Eric Almirola would spin up the track and collect Alex Bowman, and then other drivers, Reddick, Truex, Byron, Blaney, and so many other top contenders for the Daytona 500 were caught up in this. This is something that easily could have been avoided. It was just so early on the race, and drivers didn't need to be pushing this hard. Ultimately, this wreck actually killed the race. After this, they would run single file for the remaining 150 laps of the race, and it was pretty boring after that.
Wreck to the outside. Rhodes still there, trying to hold off. And the yellow and the checkers fly, and is it Brett Holmes? Holmes on the outside line, and I think he did it.
Right here.
It's yellow light is on, and DiBenedetto is out in front at that point. It's official. The 25 of Matt DiBenedetto, the winner at Talladega, his first career win.
The Truck Series always puts on a show, to say the least. It's usually not the great show that you want. It's usually just chaos and wrecking, just like in this clip. But this was a more interesting one. Coming to the checkered flag, Matt DiBenedetto was trying to pick up his first ever win in NASCAR, and he easily looked to have it in hand. Ultimately, until he got pushed below the yellow line, and then he got hit. He would actually spin across the line as he almost got weight shifted. Thankfully, DiBenedetto was actually able to keep the win because he crossed the line first, legally. Matt DiBenedetto would pick up his first win at Talladega, and it came in dramatic fashion.
Big battle off of turn 4 here. And into the wall goes Bubba Wallace. And he comes back across the track, tags the 5. They're both in the wall, and the caution comes out. Tips the 20 car of Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell hard into the outside wall. Bubba just feels like that the 5 didn't give him much room as he would have liked.
Then they go down the front straightaway, and it just looks like to me Bubba hangs a left to retaliate. And I got a problem with that. You're going as fast as they're going, and you hang a guy in the right rear quarter pound. That is exceptionally dangerous. That's racing right there. Larson's fault for sure, but that right there is not acceptable.
Jeff Burton was in the booth, and he was furious, as a lot of NASCAR fans were, especially in the height of the NASCAR Gen 7 race car being extremely dangerous and giving drivers concussions. Bubba Wallace, in probably his darkest time in his racing career, let the temper get the best of him and wrecked Kyle Larson intentionally at Las Vegas, hooking him into the wall in a very vulnerable position. Thankfully, Wallace and Larson were okay after this accident, but it was just something unacceptable that cannot be done anymore in NASCAR racing, especially at mile and a halves. It's dangerous, and this could lead to even more driver injuries in the future if this continues. So NASCAR suspended Bubba Wallace for one race, and he had learned his lesson, and he's definitely improved since then.
About 4. Hit your mark here. You're way better than he is. Hit your mark. Caution's out. Caution's out. Caution is out off at 7.
Those barrels at the end of pit road that are filled with gravel and sand have been destroyed. Pit lane barrels, that's Denny Hamlin.
Denny's back there. Hard to tell if there was any contact from behind on Denny's part.
So that's at the pit entrance.
The 2014 race at Watkins Glen was definitely chaotic. There was even a crash after the race, just like this one with the 33 car. But Denny Hamlin made extremely hard contact with the inside barriers right at the entrance of pit road, and sand went everywhere. Denny Hamlin ended up finishing this race wrecked with sand all over the place, and this was probably one of Denny Hamlin's worst racetracks ever. He's not really great at Watkins Glen, and to end it like this was probably extremely frustrating for Hamlin. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, if you've liked this video, I'm pretty sure these videos will catch your eye also.